October 8, 1943, over northern Germany, 25,000 feet above the earth. Staff Sergeant Daniel Danny Mercer grips the cold aluminum frame of his top turret inside, a Boeing B-17 Flying Fortress. The bomber's designation B-17F sits stenciled near the cockpit, but the crew calls her Lucky Bell. Frost creeps along the inside of the plexiglass. Oxygen hisses in his mask. Below, a gray sea of clouds swallows the Reich. Ahead, the formation stretches for miles. Silver crosses of the United States Army Air Forces pushing toward Bremen. Their target, the Focke-Wulf aircraft works. Danny rotates the turret slowly. The twin .50 caliber Brownings track the sky. He's 19, Kansas farm boy. He hasn't seen home since spring. Bandits, 11 o'clock high, crackles the intercom. The contrails appear first, then white scars in blue sky. Then dark shapes cut through them. Messerschmitt Bf-109 fighters diving in disciplined pairs. The first pass is fast. Cannon shells slam into a bomber 2 ships over. A wing tears open like paper. Danny fires short bursts, disciplined. Just like training in Texas. The turret shudders. Brass casings rattle around his boots. The sky becomes noise. Engines, gunfire, men, shouting clipped words to hide fear. A B-17 beneath them takes a hit to the nose. It veers up unexpectedly straight into Danny's path. Brake right, brake right. Someone screams. Too late. Metal shrieks against metal. The impact is violent but brief, a gut punch jolt that throws Danny against his harness. The turret jerks sideways. The entire aircraft lurches as if struck by a giant hand. Another B-17 call sign. Marianne has collided with Lucky Bell. Their wings scrape. The tail of the other bomber shears part of Danny's vertical stabilizer. For a heartbeat, the two aircraft remain locked together, groaning like wounded animals, through shattered plexiglass. Danny sees the other crew, faces, eyes wide behind oxygen masks. Then they separate. Marianne begins to roll, one engine aflame. Danny watches in horror as it spins downward, trailing smoke, toward the clouds below. Inside Lucky Bell, warning lights flash. Hydraulic pressure dropping. One engine feathered, another coughing black smoke. Pilot Lieutenant Harris fights the controls. "We're losing her," he says, calm but thin. Danny scans the sky. Fighters are circling again. They are damaged, alone, and deep inside Germany. And below them, somewhere beyond the cloud cover, enemy territory waits. The fortress shudders like a dying animal. Danny forces himself to breathe through the oxygen mask. The smell of cordite and burning insulation fills the turret. Below him, one engine is dead, propeller feathered, frozen against the wind. Another spits black smoke into the slipstream. Number 3's gone, the engineer reports. Hydraulics bleeding out. Lieutenant Harris doesn't answer right away. He wrestles the yoke, roots braced against the rudder pedals. The crippled Boeing B-17 Flying Fortress is sagging out of formation, losing altitude foot by foot. And over the intercom, there's silence where Marianne should be. Danny looks down through a tear in the fuselage skin. Far below, through a break in the clouds, he glimpses a burning spiral descending toward Germany. No parachutes. Bandits regrouping. The tail gunner calls. The German fighters return sleek, precise. Messerschmitt Bf-109s line up for another pass. Without formation cover, Lucky Bell is exposed. Danny rotates the turret. The motor grinds unevenly. He squeezes the triggers in controlled bursts. The Brownings hammer, tracers reaching toward an incoming fighter. The Messerschmitt flashes past, cannon shells punching into the bomber's belly. The aircraft bucks violently. In the waist, Sergeant Collins screams, then cuts off. Danny doesn't ask. "Prepare to bail out," Harris orders. The words hang heavier than the flak. They are still 20,000 feet up. Air temperature below freezing. Wind tearing at metal seams. Jumping here means drifting into the heart of Nazi Germany. Danny hesitates. He thinks of Kansas wheat fields, of his mother's hands folded in church, of the training sergeant who said capture was worse than death. Navigators hit. Someone whispers, "He's gone." Another explosion rocks the plane. The fighters peel away, ammunition spent or satisfied. Silence returns, broken only by the uneven drone of surviving engines. Harris changes his mind. "Hold. We might make the coast." It's a gamble. With 2 engines failing and a shredded tail, the fortress should not stay airborne. But the B-17 is stubborn, built to absorb punishment. Altitude drops 15,000. 14. Below, clouds thin. The German countryside appears. Patchwork fields, dark forests, thin roads like veins. Tiny black dots move along one road, vehicles stopping, pointing upward. Flak bursts bloom beneath them, now late, but accurate. A shell detonates close enough to shake Danny's teeth. The control cables scream in protest. The aircraft lists left. Harris's voice comes again, tighter this time. "Mercer, If she goes, you jump. Danny nods, though no one can see him. And then the rudder stops responding. The nose dips sharply toward the earth. They are no longer limping home. They are falling. The nose drops hard. Danny's stomach lifts into his throat as the crippled Boeing B-17 Flying Fortress tilts toward the earth. The altimeter needle spins backward. 12,000 feet. 11. Rudder's gone. Lieutenant Harris shouts. She's not answering. The aircraft yaws violently left. The vertical stabilizer already torn from the midair. Collision is barely holding. Wind screams through shredded aluminum. Bail out. Bail out. Harris orders. There is no argument now. Danny unlocks the turret hatch. The slipstream punches him in the face as he climbs down into the fuselage. The interior smells of oil, blood, and burnt wiring. In the waist section, Sergeant Collins lies motionless near the .50 caliber mount. Danny doesn't stop. There's no time. The aircraft lurches again, nearly rolling inverted. He clips on his parachute, fingers numb in the cold. Below, the bomb bay doors are already open. The ground is frighteningly clear. Now dark forests and small farmhouses rushing closer. The engineer is gone. The navigator's table is empty. Danny moves toward the waist hatch. Through the opening he sees the countryside shockingly peaceful. A narrow river winding through fields. A small village with a church steeple. People emerging from buildings, pointing upward. He hesitates. Behind him, Harris's voice comes over the intercom one last time. Calm, steady. Good luck, boys. Danny doesn't see the pilot leave. He never will. The aircraft shudders violently as another flak burst detonates close by. A piece of the wing tears free. That's enough. Danny jumps. The cold hits like a hammer. Air roars past his ears. The B-17 tumbles above him now, spinning slowly, one engine still turning uselessly. For a moment, he forgets to pull the cord. Then instinct wins. He jerks the D-ring. The parachute snaps open with bone-jarring force. Silence replaces the engine roar. Just wind. Above, Lucky Bell rolls once more, then disappears behind a thin veil of cloud. A few seconds later, a distant explosion echoes across the countryside. Danny hangs alone in the sky over Germany. Below, the village grows larger. He can see figures running toward the open field where he is drifting. Some wear civilian coats, others uniforms, dark uniforms. As he descends, he notices something else, another parachute, not far away. A second American, but closer to the road. A truck stops abruptly. Soldiers jump out, rifles raised. They are waiting exactly where the wind is carrying him, and Danny realizes he will not land unnoticed. The ground rises fast. Danny pulls hard on the risers, trying to steer away from the road where the truck has stopped. The parachute canopy shifts slightly, but the October wind belongs to Germany now, not to him. Below, Wehrmacht soldiers spread out across the field, rifles angled upward. One points directly at him. He lands hard in damp soil, boots sinking into cold earth. The impact knocks the breath from his lungs. He fumbles with the harness straps, hands shaking, struggling to free himself before the wind drags him. Nix Bugen. A voice shouts, "Don't move." Danny freezes, for German soldiers surround him within seconds. Their field gray uniforms are mud-streaked, collars stiff, helmets low over their eyes. One carries a Carabiner 98K rifle leveled at Danny's chest. Another kicks the parachute away. Danny slowly raises his hands. He thinks of the escape lectures in England. Give name, rank, serial number. Nothing more. The youngest German steps forward, barely older than Danny. He stares at the blood on Danny's flight suit. Amerikaner, he mutters. A staff sergeant with weathered eyes searches Danny roughly, removing his .45 pistol, maps, and escape kit. The pistol disappears into the German's belt without ceremony. They shove Danny toward the truck. As they move him across the field, he hears shouting from the village. Civilians gather near the crash site beyond the trees. A plume of black smoke marks where Lucky Bell fell. Danny searches the sky. They're the second parachute, drifting lower, further east, still airborne. One of the Germans notices. He raises his rifle. A single shot cracks. The parachute jerks violently in the distance. Danny can't tell if it's a hit or a warning. His stomach tightens, but he forces himself to show nothing. The truck engine growls to life. He's thrown into the back between two soldiers. The canvas flap drops, cutting off the view of the field. Inside the dark compartment, the truck smells of fuel and wet wool. One soldier studies him in silence. Not hatred, not curiosity, just exhaustion. After a long moment, the soldier offers him a canteen. Danny hesitates, then nods once and drinks. The water tastes metallic. Outside, the road jolts beneath the tires. The truck passes other vehicles heading toward the smoke. German civilians stare as they go by. Danny realizes something unsettling. He expected rage, violence, immediate retribution for bombing German cities. Instead, there is discipline, procedure. He is no longer a combatant in the sky. He is a prisoner. As the truck crests a small hill, Danny glimpses barbed wire fencing in the distance. Guard towers silhouetted against gray clouds. The war, for him, has changed completely, and it is only beginning. The truck rattles through iron gates topped with barbed wire. Danny lifts his head as the canvas flap swings open. Guard towers stand at each corner, machine guns mounted behind sandbags. A wooden sign hangs above the entrance, Stalag Luft. This is no improvised holding yard. This is organized captivity. He is pushed down from the truck. His legs are stiff from cold and shock. Around him, other prisoners move in quiet lines between low wooden barracks. Most wear American flight jackets, some British uniforms, all thin from rationing. A German officer approaches, boots polished despite the mud. His cap bears the insignia of the Luftwaffe. He studies Danny with measured calm. Name, the officer says in accented English. Staff Sergeant Daniel Mercer. Rank and serial number. Danny recites it. The officer waits, expecting more. Danny says nothing. A faint smile. Very well. They march him into a processing room. A clerk records his information carefully. Another soldier removes his dog tags for documentation, then returns one half. His pockets are emptied again. Photographs, a folded letter from home. The letter disappears into a file. Danny's jaw tightens, but he keeps silent. He is led into a barrack that smells of wood smoke and damp wool. Rough bunks stacked 3 high. Faces turn toward him. An older American captain steps forward. Gaunt but steady. Air Corps? The captain asks quietly. Danny nods. Welcome to Stalag Luft III, the captain says. The words hang heavy. Danny has heard rumors about this place back in England. Escape attempts, tunnels, interrogations. Stories that feel distant and unreal. Now they are not distant. Through the window, he sees the high double fences to rows of barbed wire with a dead zone between them. Guards patrol constantly. Searchlights sweep slowly even in daylight, a reminder of what comes after dark. At supper, the ration is thin soup and coarse bread. Danny forces himself to eat. Hunger will become constant here. Across the room, a British pilot whispers something about a new arrival shot while landing. Danny doesn't ask. Later, lying on the top bunk, he stares at the wooden ceiling inches from his face. He replays the collision, the falling bomber, the second parachute. He wonders who survived. And then he hears something unexpected outside the barracks. Laughter, female voices. Danny shifts slightly toward the window. Beyond the inner fence, near an administrative building, a group of German women in uniform walk past Luftwaffe auxiliaries. They glance toward the prisoner compound, curious. One of them meets his eyes briefly. Her expression is not hatred. It is something else. And for the first time since he hit the ground, Danny feels a different kind of tension rising inside the wire. Morning comes with a whistle and boots on frozen ground. Danny steps outside into the yard of Stalag Luft III. Frost clings to the barbed wire. The sand in the compound has been raked smooth. Guards checking for footprints, for tunnels, for hope. Roll call begins. German sentries pace with rifles slung across gray greatcoats. Beyond the inner fence, administrative buildings stand in stiff rows. And near one of them, Danny sees the women again. They wear tailored uniforms of the Luftwaffe auxiliaries, dark skirts, jackets with insignia, hair pinned neatly beneath caps. They carry files, typewriters, message folders. Not soldiers, not civilians. One of them is the woman who met his eyes yesterday. She stands slightly apart from the others, holding a clipboard. Blonde hair tucked under her cap. Her expression guarded but observant. The prisoners are counted once, twice, a third time because the numbers don't match. A British pilot mutters under his breath. They always miscount. The woman looks up briefly at the sound of English. Her gaze sweeps across the rows of POWs. It pauses on Danny. Just a second. Then she looks away. After roll call, prisoners are assigned work details inside the camp kitchen. Latrine duty, carpentry. Danny is placed in a repair crew patching barrack walls damaged by weather. It keeps his hands busy. That helps. Around midday, a commotion breaks near the gate. A truck arrives carrying 2 new prisoners. One limps badly. The other's face is bruised. Danny's chest tightens. As they are marched past, he recognizes the limping man. Sergeant Collins. Alive. Their eyes lock. Collins gives the smallest nod before being pushed forward. Relief hits Danny like warm air, but it is quickly replaced by something else. The blonde auxiliary steps forward to record the arrivals. She speaks quietly with the guard, glancing once at Collins's injured leg. There is concern in her face. Not performance. Concern. Later, as Danny carries planks past the inner fence, he finds himself closer to her than before. Only a few yards separate them, divided by wire and watchful guards. She pretends to study paperwork. Then, without looking directly at him, she speaks softly in English. You should not have flown here. Her accent is precise, educated. Danny keeps his eyes forward. Didn't have much choice. A pause. My brother flies for Germany, she says quietly. Footsteps approach. She straightens instantly, professional again. Danny walks on, heart pounding for a different reason now. In this camp of barbed wire and discipline, lines are drawn clearly. But he has just stepped into a space between them. And in war, that space can be more dangerous than open sky. The wind sharpens over the wire. Days settle into rhythm inside Stalag Luft III roll call. Thin soup, repair work. Whispers after dark. Routine is survival. Predictability is control. But tension simmers beneath it. Sergeant Collins' leg is worse than he admits. The collision fractured something deep. The camp medic, a captured RAF doctor, does what he can with limited supplies. Real treatment requires the infirmary beyond the inner fence. German doctors. German oversight. Danny watches Collins grit his teeth during inspection. If the injury worsens, Collins may be transferred, separated, interrogated again. Late afternoon. Danny's work detail carries scrapwood toward the administrative yard. The blonde auxiliary stands near the steps, speaking with an officer from the Luftwaffe. Her voice is calm, precise. She notices Danny only after the officer leaves. She steps closer to the fence, maintaining formal posture. Your friend, she says quietly, eyes forward. The one who arrived yesterday. Danny keeps moving planks. What about him? He will be examined tomorrow. If infection spreads, he may be sent east. East. Danny knows what that means. Another camp. Harsher conditions. Fewer witnesses. He swallows. Can you help? She hesitates. It is not theatrical. It is calculation. My name is Anna, she says, still not looking at him. I type reports. I do not command doctors. That's not what I asked. Silence stretches between them, thin as wire. Footsteps approach again. A Feldwebel passes, suspicious eyes scanning. Anna's posture stiffens instantly. Professional. Neutral. That night, after lights out, whispers ripple through the barrack. A new rumor. 2 prisoners shot attempting escape from another compound. Danny lies awake, staring at the dark beams overhead. Trusting a German auxiliary could mean punishment. Solitary confinement. Worse. But doing nothing means Collins leaves. Morning comes gray and bitter. Collins is called out by name. Danny stands in line as guards escort him toward the infirmary gate. Anna is there with paperwork. She signs something quickly, hands steady. As Collins passes her, she speaks sharply in German to the guard. Her tone firm, authoritative. The guard hesitates, then nods. Collins is redirected, not toward the outer transport yard but toward the camp. Infirmary building inside the wire. Danny feels something shift, not hope, possibility. Anna does not look at him as she walks away. But as the door closes behind Collins, Danny understands the truth. Lines in war are not always made of steel. Sometimes, they are drawn by choice, and someone on the other side has just chosen. Snow begins to fall over Stalag Luft III, thin at first, then steady. The compound grows quiet under white powder, as if the war itself has been muted. Guards stamp their boots to keep warm. Prisoners huddle in barracks, conserving calories. Collins remains in the infirmary. Danny hasn't seen him in 3 days. Rumors move faster than snow. Some say the Germans are preparing transfers before Christmas. Others whisper about increased escape attempts after news from the Eastern Front. German losses mounting. Inside the barrack, the RAF doctor pulls Danny aside. Your friend's leg is fractured clean through, he says quietly. If it's not set properly, he'll never walk right again. Can you set it? With proper equipment, yes. Without, the doctor doesn't finish. That afternoon, Danny's work detail is sent near the administrative building again. Snow crunches under boots, visibility low. Guards less alert in the cold. Anna stands beneath the eaves, reviewing documents. A gust of wind scatters loose papers at her feet. Danny reacts without thinking. He kneels, gathering them before they blow into the dead zone between fences. Their hands brush as he passes the stack through the wire. She does not pull back. Collins will not be transferred, she says quietly. I altered the classification. He is marked non-transportable. Danny looks at her for the first time fully since capture. That risks your position. It risks more than that, she replies. A pause hangs between them. Why? He asks. Anna's eyes drift toward the snow-covered watchtower. My brother was shot down over Italy last year, she says. Captured by Americans. He writes that he is treated correctly. The implication is clear. Humanity traded across enemy lines. Footsteps crunch closer. A guard clears his throat. Anna straightens, professional mask returning instantly. Return to your work, she says sharply in German. Danny moves away, heart pounding. That night, Collins is brought back to the barrack on crutches, legs splinted properly. The RAF doctor nods once at Danny, understanding without words. But something else has changed. Two Gestapo officers arrive at the camp the next morning, black coats against white snow. They move toward the administrative building, toward Anna's office. Danny watches from the yard as the door closes behind them. Snow continues to fall, and for the first time since he landed in Germany, the danger does not feel aimed at him. It feels aimed at her. The snow does not stop. It settles on the guard towers, on the barbed wire, on the roofs of the barracks inside Stalag Luft III. The world looks clean, quiet, but nothing inside the wire is clean. Danny stands in morning roll call as the two Gestapo officers step into the compound. Their black leather coats cut sharply against the white ground. Unlike the Luftwaffe guards, they do not look tired. They look alert, purposeful. One of them studies the prisoners as if memorizing faces. The other speaks briefly with the camp commandant near the administrative building. Anna stands several paces behind them, holding a folder against her chest. Her posture is perfect, her face unreadable. But Danny notices her hands. They are still, too still. The Gestapo officers disappear into the office. Roll call drags on longer than usual. Guards count again and again. Finally, prisoners are dismissed. Inside the barrack, whispers erupt immediately. They're investigating paperwork. A British pilot murmurs, "Transport lists." Danny feels the weight of that word. Paperwork. He moves toward the window. From here, he can see the administrative steps. Snow continues to fall in slow, silent flakes. The office door opens. One Gestapo officer steps out first, lighting a cigarette. The other follows, expression unreadable. Then Anna emerges. She does not look at the compound. The taller officer says something sharply. She responds evenly in German. No visible fear, no hesitation. But Danny sees it now, the faintest tremor in her jaw. The officer steps closer to her. Too close. He flips through the folder she carries. Pages flutter in the wind. One sheet slips free and lands on the snow between them. The officer bends to pick it up. His eyes narrow. From across the yard, Danny's pulse pounds in his ears. He cannot hear the words, but he sees the shift the moment suspicion becomes certainty. The officer's head snaps up. Anna says something firm, controlled. The second officer gestures toward the building. For a long second, she stands motionless. Then she turns and walks back inside with them. The door shuts. Hours pass. No one comes out. By dusk, the guards are tighter, more watchful. Searchlights begin sweeping earlier than usual. Inside the barrack, Collins leans close to Danny. "What did she do?" he whispers. Danny stares at the closed office door across the yard. "She chose," he answers quietly. Night falls fully over the camp, and somewhere beyond the administrative wall, interrogations begin. The interrogation lasts through the night. Danny does not sleep. Searchlights sweep across the snow-covered yard of Stalag Luft III in slow mechanical arcs. Each beam feels like a question with no answer. At dawn, the administrative door finally opens. Anna steps out between the two Gestapo officers. She is still in uniform, cap straight, color aligned, but something in her face has changed. Not broken, resolved. The prisoners are ordered into formation again. Breath hangs in the freezing air. No one speaks. The camp commandant reads a formal statement in German. The words are stiff, bureaucratic. Unauthorized alteration of transport records. Administrative misconduct. Pending review in Berlin. Anna stands motionless. Danny watches her carefully. The taller Gestapo officer turns toward the assembled prisoners. His gaze sweeps across the rows, searching for reactions, for connections. Danny keeps his expression blank. The officer gestures. Two guards step forward, not toward the prisoners, toward Anna. They remove her insignia, one small motion at a time. The Luftwaffe eagle lifted from her collar. The sleeve patch cut free. The snow absorbs each falling thread. She does not resist. Before being led away, she glances once toward the compound, not at the whole formation. At one place in it, Danny, there is no smile, no dramatics, just a steady look that says what cannot be spoken. The truck engine starts beyond the gate. Collins shifts beside Danny. What happens to her? He murmurs. Danny doesn't answer. He knows enough of wartime Germany to understand what investigations become. Labor camps, detention, disappearance. The truck rolls through the gate and vanishes down the road. Snow continues to fall. Roll call ends. The prisoners are dismissed. Inside the barrack, the RAF doctor grips Danny's shoulder. Briefly wordless recognition of what has been done. Days later, rumors spread through the camp. The Gestapo officers do not return. Transfers are delayed. Paperwork scrutinized more carefully now. Collins keeps his leg. Men who would have been moved east remain inside the wire. Anna's name is never spoken again by the guards. But at night, when searchlights glide over the fences, Danny thinks of a single choice made in quiet defiance. 2 bombers collided in the sky over Germany. Metal tore, men fell. War raged as expected. What shocked the Nazis was not the crash. It was that, inside their own system of discipline and fear, someone chose mercy. And mercy, in wartime Germany, was the most dangerous act of all.